And we're live. Haven't streamed for a little bit. Got busy, so I haven't been around, but yeah, we'll give it a second while everybody shows up. Let me play the game while we're waiting. I had a big bug over the weekend with the music, which I'm actually going to turn down. I had it turned all the way up so I could bug test a bit better, but I had a problem with the music. It took me like a full day to find the bug to fix, which I'm glad I didn't stream because yeah, that would have been annoying. I gotta reset that. I got the character at the end because I was I was moving the bug was once I end a run around, then the music becomes more intense as you go, and it wasn't resetting. So also the floor lights are stuck on this red sprite. Let me fix that. Floor light. Reset it back to the white sprite. There we go. Deeble, how's it going? Tenver Foy's Thoke, hello. What's up, guys? How's it going? Welcome to the stream. But anyway, I had that bug, and I got on I want to say it was Monday, or I think it was actually yesterday. Monday, I had a flat tire after work, and that was, I just escaped the game. I really ought to add a, are you sure you want to leave the game? What's it, prompt before, that way, you know, if you're really far in the game, you don't accidentally press this, because that is a possibility. But anyway, Monday I had a flat tire, and so I didn't get, yeah, that was just annoying. And I could have streamed that day, but after dealing with a flat tire, I didn't really want to. And then, what was it? Tuesday, I can't, oh wait, no, Tuesday I was gone the whole day. So Monday, it was Monday. Had a flat tire, didn't feel like streaming, but I did still work on the game. And that's where I ran into the bug with the music, where the bug wasn't resetting correctly. It was staying silent, and then yeah, I tried all sorts of stuff to get it fixed. I did eventually figure it out, but it took me several hours of work, which if I had streamed on Monday, it would have been just several hours of looking for a bug, which is kind of boring, if I'm totally honest. So okay, this also, look at that. The debris should not be above the player. It should be above like this and all that, but not above the player. The player should walk on top of debris. So that's something we'll need to fix. In fact, I better note that down right now. Cost to do. Let's see, edit. Fix debris layering. Debris is a weird word because it has a silent S in it. I didn't even spell it right. There's the I. Layering with the not E. There we go. Save that. Sup, love your videos. Hey, thanks, man. Zakitchen MC. Did I get that right? Mr. Frizzles, I love music cues. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're gonna work on today. So yeah, because we still have a little bit more music to add. We got to add a death cue, maybe a spawn cue, and then there could be potentially others, maybe some music cues when you complete a round. So that could be it. Did I not pronounce your name correctly? Oh, there's no T in kitchen. Yeah. Sorry, man. Chan. What? Zeki Chan? Oh, that's what it is. It's Zeki Chan. I see. Zeki Chan MC. See, I'm getting there. Gonna catch up. Anyway, and then yesterday I didn't stream because I had to go do things all day yesterday. I had to drive into town and buy crap and whatever, so yeah, the debris is acting weird. Here's this debris up in front of the player. It looks like it's floating. That will not do. I think I changed the layer the debris is on because it was appearing behind some of like these sprites, the ones that look like grime on the ground, a little bit of dirt. So if I were to kill an enemy here, that they were like going underneath that. I just have a problem with layering in general, I think. But I bought some tea. You bought some tea. How's it going, Apniket? But it's too hot to be drinking tea. What? What kind of tea? Is it like just black tea? Like the actual tea leaf? Or is it some other kind of like green tea or something? I think it's interesting that tea is both like an official plant, but also just a type of drink that often has nothing to do with the original plant. I gotta go, but your how to fail videos really helped me progress as a game dev. I hope your game does well. Well, thank you, man. I'm glad that that my videos were to help you out, and it's always great to hear something like that. So, catch you later. Thanks for dropping by the stream, even if it was just for a little bit. It's great to have you. I'm scared of tea drinkers. What did they ever do to you? What makes them scary? I don't understand. This is one of the new it's one of the new areas, new sections. That guy's throwing bombs from forever away. Get out of here. Oh, okay. Let's kill this guy right here. See if I can show. Nope, I wasn't able to show it. I'm gonna do it with the bomb. Yeah, so that's above the dirt, but it's above the player too. Maybe we can fix that right now. Let's see. It's called chunks. If I could spell it. Chunks. It's a chunk scene. And let's see, did I just make the where is the layering? Layer 14. Oh, that's the collision layer. What about the sprite? Is it just the sprite that I moved? Z index -3. That's interesting. Did I change this though? Ordering Z index 5. Weird. What if we set this to 2 and set this to 0? What would that do? Let's take a look. How's it going? How's it going? Lizard Wizard Games. That's a cool name. I like the how it flows off the tongue there. Lizard Wizard Games. Man, I hope you become like an amazingly huge game studio, because that will just be fun to say. Like when we're talking about the latest game that came out, we'll be like, oh, that new game from Lizard Wizard Games, I can't believe what they did with it. Or maybe it'll be something positive, I don't know, but it'll still just be fun. Lizard Wizard Games used to be a great company. I don't know where they went wrong, right? That'll be after the Rise. That's the fall. Get the Rise and the fall. Okay, let's find some. Oh, let's see if is it below the player now? No, it's still above the player. Interesting. I could probably just look at what layer the player is on. Then we'd be able to figure that out. The player layer. Player layer is 0. So maybe if I just make this -1. Now it might conflict though, because I think many things that are supposed to be below the player are just -1. I'm a tea lover, more like addicted, but I don't know. I did something to be afraid of. Interesting. But like actual tea, like green tea or like black tea, like the tea. There's so many types of tea. I'm not sure exactly what tea you're talking about. We should dump all their tea in the Boston Harbor. That'd be a good idea. Phantom Oxalotl, what's up? Welcome. I'm reading all the chats backwards. Scared of the UK. Yeah, go to the UK and you'll just be like panic attack the whole time. Player tea. Tea made out of the player. Normal and green tea. Normal and green tea. Interesting. I've never had normal tea. I've only ever had green tea. Like I had like a mint tea. It's not my favorite. Like I wouldn't necessarily choose to drink it all the time. I think I had it medicinally at one point. So I had some kind of allergy or I was sick with something. I can't remember. And somebody gave me some kind of tea to help out. But yeah, try it. Oats goated. Try it, oats goat. I don't. Did you misspell something? Do you mean to say like try it? It's goated. Yeah, there we go. Try it. It's goated. Yum organs. Rule boys is nice. Don't Roy Boys. I don't know what that is. I've had. There's like a barley drink. Let me see if we can find it. Barley. It's like a barley coffee. It's not real coffee. It's like coffee made out of barley. Let me see here. Yeah, it's not exactly these ones, but it looks kind of like these. It's a different brand, I think. I've had that before, and I put just tons of sugar in it because it's bitter. Like I've never actually had real coffee either, but it's very bitter, and I don't know if I really enjoy the bitterness. So I add a bunch of sugar, which kind of defeats like it's way too much sugar. It's like probably not good for me at all. It defeats any health purposes that I might gain from such a drink. Okay, that was just a black screen because I ran the wrong scene. Let's see if this appears. It should appear below the player, but then the issue we'll have is it's going to appear above. Or let's go in this direction so I can. Oh, see, that's still above. Okay, maybe we're good. Maybe we fixed it. Let's make sure it's below the player though. It's still above the player. What's going on? What's going on here? That's weird. That's super weird. Let's find the player scene. Here, I'll just find it here. Player scene. Yeah, so the player is on index 0. The player sprites also on index 0. Yeah, everything's index 0. The player is just right on 0. So everything should work with that. So there must be something messed up with the chunks. So the sprite is on -1. The chunk itself is still on 2. Oh, I changed the wrong one. That's why. Let's set that to 0 and put the base scene at -1. Okay, that's where I went wrong. Let's try it again. The crown comes from the new XP system. Oh yeah, the really janky XP system that doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, it's kind of stupid. Maybe they'll like actually work on it, make it balanced. Could become fun in the future. Okay, now it's below the player. Let's make sure it appears below the decorations as well. There's some here. Just gotta get the right angle. Actually, this guy will run away from me, so if I get up behind right here, then he'll run where I want him to. Okay, now let's kill him right here. Okay, that's above. That's above the thing, and the rest of the debris is below. So I think that should work. Yeah, so that's below the player. Let's find another one to. Oh, here's another one. Let's do it right on this one. Yeah, that's above. And I wonder if there's like some cases where the tile set that makes those sprites is messed up. Okay, that's good. Well, that should be the same layer because it's in the same tile set. Because these rooms are made up out of sections, so I'm wondering if I messed up the tile set on some of the sections, and then other sections are correct. Like the ones I've tested so far are all correct. But it could be that later sections or some of the other ones are weird. Let's do this one. That's above. Yeah, we're probably good. I think I fixed it. Put it on the to-do list, the whatever list, the checklist, and then we immediately take it off. Fixed. It was bothering me, so I had to fix it right away. How did you make this slash? Is there an area 2D with the animations or a different technique? It's super janky. I'll show you. I used to work at Blizzard, and so this is a really great way to do it. No, I'm just kidding. It's really probably not the best way to do it. Let me find it. It's under the player. Okay. So see all these collision shapes? the big circle is the full attack. So you have 4 different attacks when you play. Let me show you and just this bleh, in this test scene real quick. So you have 4 attacks. You got this big attack, and then still a big attack, but it's only in front of you. Or you can have the full circle attack, but then it's smaller like this. Or you have small and it's just in front of you. So there's 4 different types of attacks, depending on what upgrades you've lost, because it's an inverted roguelike. You lose abilities as you go. And so the way it works is I have the animations that will play on these animated... actually, what are these? Where's it? Oh, it's this animated sprite node. So here's the different animations. And then I have I have a character sprite. I forgot what kind of what is it? Yeah, character body 2D sprite. So I have character body 2D sprites for each of the different sword attacks, and they have these collision layers, and I believe that they're set to, yeah, they're all set to 3, and the collisions on these are just turned off until you attack. And depending on what kind of attack you have, it will momentarily turn these collisions on. Like, it will just flick them on and off. And when they get flicked on, then that is detected by any enemies within the area. So if you have the full circle attack, which is this big circle, then if an enemy is within that, then it's going to detect that it's been in the area when it gets flicked on, and it will react according to which enemy it is, right? And then, you know, as you have the smaller circle attack, then that's the area. Or if you have the forward one, which this one is a little weird. Let me see if I can, yeah, I'll turn these off so you can see it. So in order to get that area correct, I just used several different shapes to pull it off. And then same with not that one, the short sword, this one. And it kind of has a different shape, and so I just gave it 3 shapes that overlap to kind of make up where the attack lands. And it's pretty accurate for the, like, you're never gonna feel like you missed. So yeah, it works. But that's how that works. It's kind of silly, but it gets the job done. And I for some reason, I can't remember now, but I had to use a character body 2D node to pull this off because the other nodes were interacting weird, and I can't remember why. And so when I made these collision shapes part of this instead of an area or whatever it was, it just worked a lot smoother for what I was going for. So I can't remember why, but yeah, it's kind of weird, but it works. You get XP sometimes for cheating and sending money. Oh, is that how it works? Yeah, yeah. Send money and you'll get first place for sure, probably. Hello, the Be Cool guy. Yeah, what's up, cool guy? Welcome. How did you make the slash? I already read that. What does inverted roguelike? I can't deduce what it would mean. And so a normal roguelike, you start out with nothing, and as you progress, you randomly are presented with options for new abilities, and then you select those, and often there's high synergies as you go. And so and a roguelike means you get one run. If you die, then you lose any upgrades. And but you get upgrades as you go, and later in the game you're really powerful, as opposed to at the beginning of the game you're really weak. So an inverted roguelike, which is what this is, you start out with all the abilities, all the upgrades, like you're full powered, you're pretty much OP right at the beginning. And then as you complete a round, you give up an ability. You get to pick one of these 7 abilities to lose, and then you go through again, but now you're that much weaker. And so the goal is to go through 7 times and lose an ability each time. But then on top of that, when you, let me show this scene real quick. We'll go through this cutscene. Cutscene. So when you lose your ability, you're not just going to lose an ability, but you're also going to use one of your abilities to save one of these people. So that's kind of what the motivation is in the game. So you select your ability, who you want to save, but depending on who you save, a part of the environment will also become harder. And so you can kind of match up what you think would be the best ability to lose first, along with what you think, which parts of the environment you want to make more powerful as well. And so, yeah, it gets quite a bit harder as you go. But for example, you could say, I don't want the full circle attack. and I'm willing to deal with whatever this element is, which I think, I can't remember for sure, but I think his gives the path bots a longer path. So you could use this chip to save this guy, and then you go for it. Now you have one less ability, and the environment is a little bit harder. So you have to play it through 7 times in order to win, and by the end, you're just a weak sauce loser with only 1 ability left. And the environment is considerably harder. Oh yes, yeah, I assumed I still had the circle attack there, because I'm used to playtesting with that. So yeah, that's how that works. All the abilities are passive as well, so the player will never not feel it if they lose an ability. So yeah, they're all just built in. Yeah, look at the paths, I think, are a little bit longer. I'm not sure though. Oh no, the saw blades. All the saw blades are active. Before that environment upgrade, only half the saw blades are active. But now all of them are, so there's a bit more ground obstacles to avoid. Man, the circle attack is kind of OP. But not really at the same time, because there's other abilities that I think are even better than the circle attack that you definitely wouldn't want to lose. You can jump over the saw blades though, which is kind of cool. If you time your jump right. But you never need to jump. I've designed every section without any need to jump over anything. Like, you can get through just by walking. So if the player for some reason just doesn't realize that they can jump, it won't necessarily be at their detriment. I mean, it will be at their detriment, but they won't be able to like not win still. But yeah, I keep taking back what I'm saying. What do you think of stop killing games? I'm not 100% sure what to think. I haven't looked into it enough myself. There's several people that I trust considerably who believe in stop killing games, and so I lean more towards stop killing games. But again, I haven't looked into myself, so I don't want to necessarily promote it, but I don't want to speak against it either, because as far as I know, I think it's a good thing. But that's all I have. So I just haven't looked into it quite enough. Although I should, I'm kind of in that space, but yeah, what I've looked into it is mostly just like, why is there drama around this? What do these few people think about it? And some of the people that I trust are like, yeah, this is definitely a good thing. Here's why, and they've given explanations. And so from the explanations I've heard, I feel like it's probably a good thing. But again, I haven't looked into it as much as I should if I'm going to give an official opinion. This is more like casual conversation. So I'm not going to come out with like a post or video or anything talking about it, because I don't feel like I'm a sufficient enough expert. But just in a casual conversation, such as in a live stream chat, that's basically where I'm at. So I think it's probably more beneficial than not. I feel like yeah, it's a good thing. But yeah, what do you guys think about it? Pie people, how long have you been working on this? Consecutively, a few months, but what's the how would I define that? In reality time, a little over a year, about a year and a half. So, but for like many months in the middle there, I wasn't working on it at all because I was focusing on other things. So yeah, I was also being distracted, being held back because I felt like there was something I couldn't do, and really, technically I couldn't. I ended up hiring somebody else. And that was those cutscenes that you just saw. I hired somebody else to do the cutscenes because it was holding me back. It was making me so I couldn't finish the game. I was too worried about it. Like I wasn't even necessarily working on it. I was just worried about how ineffective I would be at making such a cutscene, and trying to think of ways that I could make it easier. And so stagnating me, keeping me from progressing at all. And so I decided it would just be more efficient to hire someone who knows what they're doing to do it, and I think it worked out. By the way, do you have any tips on pixel art? That is some of the best I've ever seen. Right, and like I said, that was actually somebody else who animated that. So I'm not bad with pixel art if I can take the time to just write, or not write, just make a single frame. I'm not bad. I'm not going to pretend I'm a noob at pixel art, but I'm also not going to pretend I'm an expert at pixel art because, yeah. Tips though, practice, and that's the tip you're gonna get. It's kind of a lame tip because that's what everybody says, but yeah, it's a lot of practice. Also, use references. A lot of people think you can't use references when you make art because that's cheating. It's not. Just cheat. It doesn't matter what other people think. Just use reference. In fact, you can even trace. A lot of people say that's definitely cheating, but I trace all the time. In fact, this not the end room, but the lose screen. Almost all of these characters that I drew here, I took an image of an actual person in this position, and then I outlined, traced them in that position, and then everything else I colored and drew. Like obviously I didn't find an exact picture of somebody wearing this shirt with shorts and a robot leg. It was just a picture of somebody sitting in this position wearing completely different clothes, and yeah, I just needed the proportions and trace the lines, and that's how I got that. I have done not tracing where I look at it and I draw it, and I could do that too, but it's just a little bit faster to trace it, and I don't have any qualms against tracing it. A lot of people would be like, hey, that's cheating. Oh, catch you later, Lizard Wizard, unless you're saying goodbye to somebody else. Oh, yeah, bye, guys, I need to go. It was not Jude. Catch you later, not Jude. Yeah, so anyway, don't reinvent the wheel. That's like there's a lot of art things that apply to normal art that apply to pixel art as well, and one of those is use references. So yeah, also you can use pixel art references. Some things in pixel art can be tricky. One of ones I struggle with is clouds, and so I often will look up how other pixel artists draw clouds so I can remind myself how to draw clouds as well. So yeah, there's a lot of pixel art specific things that can be tricky to draw, and if you see how somebody else does it, then it makes it that much easier. What's the one game you hate but everyone else likes, or an opinion you have about some game which people will disagree with? Probably. Oh, we could go down that rabbit hole. There's an opinion I have about games that many people disagree with, but maybe we won't talk about that one. Otherwise, a game that I hate that everyone else likes, Undertale. I don't like Undertale. I I did not enjoy it. I didn't play it for very long. I couldn't get into it. Like I played it for, here we can look. Let's see. How long did I play it for? Let's see, it's not even on my recently played. I think I uninstalled it too because I was like, yes. Oh no, it's still installed. I played it for 33 minutes and I was dying. Like everybody raves about it, and so I bought it. And I was playing it. I couldn't get even past, like, I played 33 minutes and I was just like, man, this game is stupid. Like I could see the creativity and I could see some interesting things, but I just did not like it. Wasn't my cup of tea. I'm sure it's enjoyable by other people, but yeah. Deltarune is better anyway. Probably. I don't know. Is it similar? Undertale has great music. That's all I know about it. Yeah, a lot of people rave about the music too. And maybe I'll try it again sometime and put a little bit more time into it before I give up. But yeah, wasn't a fan. At least for the 33 minutes that I played. I agree with pixel art when it comes to MC skins. That's as far as my pixel art ability goes. Oh, that's pretty fun actually, making a Minecraft skin. Those are fun. Should add pie villagers. Pie, yeah, that'd be cool. Buy some pie from a villager. Otherwise, my other hot take is that people disagree with is how games are defined and what qualifies as a game. And there are certain things that colloquially we refer to as games that I will also refer to as games colloquially, so as not to confuse people, but definitionally are not games. And yeah, we won't go into that because we that could take that'd be quite the conversation. It's a really fun conversation, but we've talked about it before on stream, and I don't want to bore the people who've already heard that little bit of a debate. So, um, yeah, yeah, that's where we're at. Shovel Knight deserves more recognition, in my opinion. I've never played Shovel Knight, but it reminds me a lot of like Mega Man 2, and I loved playing Mega Man on like the NES. In fact, I still have the Mega Man cartridge from when I played it, and yeah, Mega Man 2 is dope. Anyway, let's make some music jingles. I'm gonna open LMMS so we can make some music jingles. Let's get going. It's not jingles, I guess they're more like music cues. So we need something like when you die. The classic one is like dun 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 dun, or something like that, like wah wah, But we want something that fits a little bit more to the theme of our game. So some people think I have an unhealthy obsession with pie. I no longer talk to those people. Yeah, that is an unfair judgment to have against you, to be honest. So I think you're justified completely. Mega Man is the big inspiration for Shovel Knight. Yeah, and that's what I heard, and I was like, maybe I should play that because I loved Mega Man. Although Mega Man is brutal because they made it so long ago. It is like it's unforgiving, like incredibly unforgiving. I've watched a video of people who are used to video games from today playing Mega Man, and they're like, man, this is hard, but it's still really well crafted. And so even though it's brutally difficult, it's super fun. But yeah. John Thomas, hello, welcome to the stream. Is it worth buying A Sprite? In my opinion, it's definitely worth buying A Sprite. It's $20 on Steam, or $20 off of the A Sprite store, I guess, online. You can just download it for $20. And so for $20, definitely worth it. Like, for me at least, it's paid for itself many times over. If you're willing to put the time into it, or if you're into pixel art at all, it's like the best pixel art tool out there. Some might argue that, but it's not true. Like, what's the other one, Piskel or whatever? It's okay, but it's not as good as A Sprite. Like, I've tried both, and A Sprite is by far better than anything else. But if you're good at compiling things, you don't even need to pay for it. You can get it for free off of their GitHub. You just have to know how to compile it and stuff. There might be some tutorials out there as well, but I mean, it's only $20. I'm sure you've purchased coffee that's more expensive than $20, but maybe not, but coffee's not that expensive. But you know what I mean? Like a restaurant visit. If you go to McDonald's nowadays, it's like $20. So, anyway, let's do this. Remove track. Let's make a little jingle. We're in the key of B, I think, for most of the songs. So we'll probably want to use that same key. However, we don't even need to have instruments play when we're doing the cues, because it could just be some drums or something like that. But I think maybe a little bit of instrument could be good. It'll give it a bit more personality. I'm not sure what instrument, but I know we will have drums, so I'm going to go ahead and add a drum set in right here. So add the drum set, and then we'll add a instrument. We'll probably go for the cello instrument that you hear playing a lot in the soundtrack so far. I think it's a cello instrument. Let's see. Yeah, you hear that? Dum 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 dum. So that's playing no matter what. In each round, as it gets harder, the music adjusts and becomes more intense. But I think we can keep that same instrument as the death cue. So when you die right now, there is no cue. Let's see it. So you got a revive. That's this ability right here. And then you actually die. Okay, we need to make the music fade out when you die, and then and have a death cue. So maybe we'll add that. Let's see, course. It's on the player script. Let's look for die. There's the die. So if you revive, we don't want the music to turn off, but if you actually die, that's gonna be at the run death animation. let's just put it right here. We'll say music dot fade out music. There, we'll do that. And I think that should make the music fade out over the course of a second. I clicked on the wrong thing. And then we can have a death cue play. Let's do this real quick. If you actually plan on it, get treasure trove. It contains all the main content and some extras, I think. For Shovel Knight. Okay, yeah, the music fades out pretty fast, but we can play some kind of death cue there. It could be something like bum bum bum. Hello, John Indie Games. Who are you talking about? John Indie Games? Who are you talking to? I'm not sure who John Indie Games is. Are you talking to John Thomas? But yeah, how do you pronounce your name? I don't know how to read. Is that Russian? I don't know how to read that. If you actually plan on it, get treasure trove, and that's the Shovel Knight thing, right? Treasure trove. That's where you can get like all the extra characters to play. Because I know there's a bunch of characters you can play in Shovel Knight. Okay, let's close that. I don't need those. And this is going to be my that cello sounding instrument. It's just a strings. I think it's the short. Yep, that's the one. So we'll load that one in right here. And what do we want? Probably something low. I think this is the note that's playing. So, dun dun. Like, it could even just be like two notes. Dun dun. I feel like it should be held longer. Let's add another instrument. I'm wondering if we can get away with adding the brutalizer. I love that instrument anyway. It's great. Oh, by the way, I noticed the elements in your character saving thingy when you discard an ability are a little hard to read. I think I might just have bad eyesight. For the like when you're in the game. So these guys, like when you hover over these, that text is hard to read. Yeah, I don't know if I can make it easier though if it is hard to read. So, sorry to the poor vision people out there. Oh, is this that same game you showcased in the Indie Games Be Like video? Maybe. I don't remember that video. I gotta look it up. What video are you talking about? YouTube. Let's go to my channel. View my channel. Look, I watch my own videos. It's great. So most of them are gonna have a red line underneath them. A lot of people are like, first, you're wrong. I watch my videos before I make them public, and it marks it as watched. But anyway, which one are you talking about? The Video Games Be Like? I did one that was kind of like every indie devlog ever, and I make fun of a lot of the indie devlogs out there. I felt only a little bit bad, but I do make fun of some legitimate things that a lot of indie devs do in their devlogs. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. But I don't know if I have every indie game ever. Yeah, I'm not sure which one you're talking about. I have featured this game in a few, such as this one. My game is called because this game has a weird name, and so I used that one. Fake loading screen. I used it in my other game, Void Titan, to show off that I have made a loading screen that's legitimate. Indie games. Oh, it's this one. Indie Games Be Like. Yeah. So this one I was talking about how a lot of indie games, especially like the really simple, cheap ones that people are just trying to push out, they'll just use simple geometric shapes, which there's nothing wrong with that, but you can add a lot of flair and interest to a game by making it not that. At the same time, there's lots of successful games that just use geometric shapes, but you can add a bit of personality to a game by and theme to a game. So I think I showcased this one because when I was prototyping this game, everything was just circles and squares to indicate what was what, which you could play it, but yeah, all I did here was just make the enemies robots and give the person a sword and put him in a hood for some reason, and decorated the space. But just as well, I could have made him look completely different, made his weapon look different, and made the enemies, I don't know, like snakes or something, right? Geometry Dash is a great example. Or what's the one? There's another one that's like, my name is something, where you're like, you play a square that walks around. It's like a little story-based game or something. I can't remember. But people pointed that one out too, where it's super simplistic. And there's nothing wrong with that, because a game doesn't need to have these extra elements to still be a game. You don't need any of these. Like even chess, you could play chess with just basic shapes indicating which pieces are which. But at the same time, chess makes their pieces symbolize war elements in like medieval feudal Europe, right? So you have kings and queens and rooks, and the names of these pieces indicate classes of military officers and things like that. So even chess takes advantage of doing more than just simple shapes, but it adds just a little bit of extra character. But that's kind of what I was talking about in that video. And so a lot of these videos where I talk about just subjects that I've thought about, it's usually because I'm doing those things in the game I'm making, and so I'm like, oh, that's an interesting thought as I'm making such and such component in my own game, and so I feel like sharing it in a video where maybe other people would be interested as well. But yeah, anyway, music. Let's make some music. What happened here? Weird. Let's cancel. Let's try it again. VST plugins. Sorry if I miss chats, by the way. I'm not the best at reading chats, but if you find it's something important and you want me to read it, just put it out again. Maybe even ping me in it, and I'll try to read it, or tag me in it, I guess. Oh, is this the same game? Yeah, that's the one I read last. You skipped over the main message where I offered you the opportunity of a lifetime. Don't accept it. I'll go bankrupt. If you actually plan on it, get treasure. Oh wait. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about there, but I'm sorry. I apologize for skipping over the main message. I didn't mean to. No, the elements above the people in the like chamber thing. Oh yeah. So that's not really legible. It's not meant. I tried to make it indicated with. Oh, wrong scene. I tried to make it clear through like an image to represent it, kind of like we have on the abilities, but I was struggling to come up with something that looked like it fit and also would fit in that limited space that I had. I could have tried to make the screens bigger, obviously. I could have just redesigned everything to give me more space, but yeah, I was kind of struggling with what to put there, and so I opted instead to just put a symbol. So you have all these different symbols. And then if you're in the actual game world, you can see the corresponding symbols on the elements in the game that they will make stronger. So for example, if we were to find this enemy, you can see there's a symbol on its back. And if you're observant enough, yeah, you'll notice that. So the one that I just did had this symbol, which is on these guys, and now the bomb is bigger. So I'm kind of leaving it up to the player to figure out which symbols do what, and just recognizing that over time, which is kind of what roguelikes do. They kind of just leave things, and then you're supposed to learn through experience. That's not necessarily an excuse for what I'm doing. It's just, I don't know. I felt like this was the best way to do it. That's immersive. because this little thing down here is supposed to be worn on the arm, so it makes sense that you'd have English stating what it is along with a symbol, because it's his own thing, you know. Or like here, the saw enemies have this symbol. That enemy has that symbol. So there are two symbols that you can't see in the game at all, and that's the ones on the end. And I'll just tell you, because it's no secret, but the ones on the end here and here, those make the enemies stronger. This one, I think, makes more enemies spawn, and this one makes it so that the enemies are stronger, like hit points wise. So instead of taking 3 hits to kill, they take 5 hits to kill. Or if they take 1 hit to kill, they take 3 hits to kill. So it adds 2 hit points to everything. Or vice versa. Maybe this one's hit point 1, this one's the amount of enemies that spawn. So if you select one of these two, which are probably going to be some of the harder ones to add, depending, like if you still have your crit, then having more hit points don't really matter, because you still have a chance to just kill them in 1 hit. But yeah, you could double the amount of enemies you face off with, but then that could be beneficial because you get more points the more enemies you kill. So, you know, maybe you want to pick one of those really early. So yeah, there will be an Easter egg. I haven't actually added it in yet, but there will be eventually a little Easter egg. It's actually pretty creative, but maybe the icons on the screens could be a little brighter, since it is a screen. Yeah, I didn't show it because I had just closed. The screens are dim, and then once you save that person, then the screen lights up a bit more to indicate that it's being powered or something like that. And so they do light up a bit more once you save the person. But I'm going to take that criticism and I'll take a look at it in the future. In fact, I'm going to add a note here. I'm going to say play around with brightness of screens in end room. Maybe we can improve that. We can make them a little bit brighter to begin with, and then once you unlock them, they become even more bright. Because if that's needed, you know, if it's hard to see, we don't want that, and that's an easy fix as well. So I appreciate the feedback. Even if I end up not changing it, I'll at least check it out, see if it's worth something that needs changed. So I'm not gonna do it right now on stream because I don't feel like it. We need to be making music. But yeah, subtle glow with post-processing, if Godot works like that. Unity users right here. It does have that. There is some glow effects you can add. I forgot, it's like bloom or something. You can add a bit of bloom, or I could add. There's a little things that I could add. I know it's possible, but I've never done it before. I think I've done bloom before, but I haven't done a lot of the other methods that you might use. And so yeah, I could look at that too as I polish it a bit more. Okay, I was going to add the brutalizer. I love the brutalizer. We'll do the deep one. So when you die, that will play. So we have maybe the same notes here. Why didn't that copy down? Oh, there we go. And that's not long enough for the for this guy. Let's hold it for like that long. And we need it to fade out too. It's going to just hold and not fade out. That could work for the death tone, I think, but I think it does need to fade out a bit more and maybe play a little bit louder. Yeah, let's copy that and we'll play it again up higher. There we go, so we get a bit more oomph. And we could still add the drums. I think in the bass song, what are the drums doing? Let's go to the music. So here's the full song where everything's going. So let's do that dun 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 as well. See if that works. So it'd be like a, where is it? That's too fast. It's weird. Dum dum dum. Wonder what pace that is. Interesting. Maybe I need to just slow this down actually. Let's bring this down to like 120 beats per minute. Yeah, I think that might work. Let's have it get quieter though with the next beats though. That's still too fast. Dun 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 dun. That's what it should be. Bum 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 bum. It sounds like it's going dun dun. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Maybe this needs to be. Maybe that's what I need. It's weird still. What's going on? Dun 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 dun. Does it just need to be later? Dun 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 dun. Oh, weird. It needs to be. Oh yeah, that is right where I need it actually. I wonder why it sounds funny. That's actually pretty creative, but maybe that. Oh, I read that. Are there any Easter eggs? I read that too. Just got some fires. Bum bum. Let's have it go a little quieter too. I don't know. We don't really need that much. Maybe we can add some like subtle beats as well. Let's do these like this. Nice and quiet across the bottom. And we'll copy it as well. Keep it going for the rest of the thing. But have it also just fading out as it, oops. Have it just fade out as it goes to practically nothing. You can't even hear them. They're so quiet. Oh, because it's on the wrong. Let's put it there. Let's try that. Okay, and then we're gonna add one of these and put this in. We're gonna start it at like here and have it go down to here. And then I think I just middle click the volume into there. No, I control click. There we go. Volume. or control click. There we go. So start out at 100 and have it fade down to 0. I think that fades too fast. Let's add a middle bit in here. There we go. I don't know if this beat is too much. It might be too military sounding. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but does that sound like a death cue? That definitely sounds better. Hey, thanks. Peak, he says. Peak. I like peak. I'll take it. Let's just export that and see how that goes. Let's see. Export. Let's stop playing it first. Pause. Stop. Export to. Make sure I'm. Can I move this? Oh, I can. Let's see. Not desktop. My computer. Where is it? Documents, cost, music. And we'll call it, or save as an MP3, we'll call it dead. We'll call it dead queue. Death queue. Let's communicate what it is. Save. Start. And it's done. It's in here now. Boom. That was easy. Music. Let's add it. Add another auto stream player. We're going to call this one Death Queue. And we'll add a function called play death queue. Function play death queue, and that's just going to be death queue.play. And that's it. Oh wait, I actually put it in there. Death queue, death sound, death queue. We're going to add it to the music bus. That way people can adjust the volume of the music. That definitely sounds better. That's a death queue if I ever heard one. Nice. Are there going to be bosses in this game? There are no bosses in the game. We thought about adding bosses in past streams. After you lose all your abilities, then there'll be a boss to fight. But, yeah, there isn't one. Maybe in an update, if I decide to do updates for the game, we could add a boss. But yeah, kind of the point of a boss is to, at least that's not always the point of the boss, but one of the benefits of a boss is you get to gain new abilities, experiment with those abilities, get good at those abilities, and then finally get to use them in a really difficult environment, which is typically a boss. In the case of my game, you're just losing abilities the whole time, and when you actually fight a boss, it's when you have no abilities at all. And so I feel like that would make it really annoying, where the enjoyment in my game comes from, to some extent, you're fighting the same enemies each time, but you're losing one ability at a time. And so the same enemies become a new challenge because you have one less ability each time. Where if you face a boss at the end, you've never faced the boss with any of your abilities, and so it's really just an annoying extra challenge that you have to face without any abilities at all. And so there's no, it doesn't have the rest of the game's loop involved in that. So I feel like because it's inverted, it kind of defeats the purpose. Maybe I could add a boss right at the beginning of the game. So if I were to add a boss, maybe the boss would be like you fight the boss right at the beginning, and then you play through. So it's completely inverted, and then when you finally lose all your abilities, you have to keep fighting the same boss right at the beginning of each round. That's a thought. It might be worth doing it. If I did add a boss, it might be worth doing it that way. But right now, there's no plan to add a boss, and there probably won't be a boss, at least not in the current plan for the finished game. Because the game's pretty much almost done. There's not that much left to do. Just add some music, do a little bit more pixel art, do some play testing, polish after that play testing, a little bit of balancing. There won't be very much. And then make the game page on itch.io, decide how I'm going to market it a little bit, do that marketing, and then the game comes out. So yeah, so the game is actually, the development part of the game is going to be done hopefully very soon. It's not gonna be done on the deadline that I set, and that was because I was sick for 2 weeks. But the deadline was July 22nd, which is not that far away. So yeah, that was when it was gonna be completely finished, ready to go. All I had to do was decide how I was gonna market it, and I was gonna take my time deciding that. But I'm not gonna reach that anymore because I was super sick for 2 weeks and just got super far behind. And I needed that time to be able to finish the game. But yeah. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. And the reason why is because I'm going to be leaving on vacation right around then. I'm going to be going far away from here. There's a song that sings like that. And, yeah, I'll be gone for 2 weeks. So after those 2 weeks, I'll come back, finish up the game, finish marketing it, everything, and we'll go from there, I guess. But, yeah. That's where we're at. But anyway, let's add this music cue to the game. Play death cue is in. All I have to do is call that function from anywhere, because this is a singleton. If you think about each ability as a crutch, then each boss could be a test of your ability to play through using each crutch. The final boss could be a test of perfect, no cheap play. Yeah, and that's kind of, yeah. Like, I mean, there's valid reason to have a boss still. There's just one of the reasons for bosses is kind of not there anymore. But a boss could still be fun. It's just not in the cards right now for the at least the first version of the public game. I could do an update later and add a boss. But yeah, a large part of the goal for this game, although it ended up taking 1.5 years anyway because I focused on other things halfway through, a large part of the focus for this game was to keep it simple, to not scope creep as much as possible. And so there's lots of ideas that would be really great in this game that I have sadly decided not to include because the goal is to keep it as simple as possible so I can get it finished and put it out there. And although a boss was on the table for a long time, I ultimately ended up deciding to not include it in order to just get the game finished. But a boss is always on the table for future updates, especially if the game is popular. If people are really enjoying the game, if a lot of people are getting it, and potentially I'm making money from the game, then there's way more incentive for me to add updates and do more for it. If nobody cares about it, then maybe it's a good thing I didn't put that much time into making a boss, because obviously nobody cares about it enough to play the normal game anyway. So we'll see. We'll see how people react to it. Okay, so the death cue will get played when the player dies, and we could probably do that from the player script right here, just in that same spot where we were before, which is the death function. We could just do fade out music and then also do music dot play death cue. Hopefully there's not hopefully the pause is long enough. Yeah, we'll see. I feel like the death cue is going to play a little bit too soon because we have to have this music fade out first, maybe before the death cue plays, but maybe it'll be fine. Let's see. Let's try it. I'm really glad I'm not the coder in my dev team because this stuff looks really complicated. I do not envy you guys. Yeah, coding can be tricky. There are people who are really good at it though, and they just excel at it like crazy, and they're super just it's just easy for them. Um, I also am a little, well, I guess you said you don't envy. I envy the ones who are really good at it, but yeah, it can be a bit of a headache at times, but also an interesting puzzle slash challenge at other times. In fact, it's super enjoyable when I could just turn on some music and buckle down and code something. Especially when it's something that I kind of have an idea of how to solve it, but I've never solved it before. Get ready, here we go. Death cue. That was cool. It was way too loud though. I guess I'm making a solo project right now though. Same. Oh, he's like I don't envy the coders either, but then I am one, so yeah. Okay, let's make that -20 like everything else is. Try it again. And let's just die normally. That sounded like it was part of the music, to be honest. Except it was way louder. So we'll take some damage from this bomb. Okay, let me get hit one more time. This is the revive. And then we'll take a laser beam to the face. Break my shield. So many passive abilities. What do you guys think? Does that work? Does that work, or should there be a little bit more of a delay before the music plays? Because that's playing instantly as soon as you die. And the other song fades out, which makes it sound like it's just part of the same song, which maybe is a good thing. Or alternatively, we could do something like, if I could find the, yeah, here, copy this code. Or we could have it wait for the music to fade out a little bit. We'll do like 0.7 seconds before the death cue plays to make the death cue a bit more impactful. We'll try a few different times before the death cue plays. Take damage, revive, break shield, and lethal damage. I didn't mind that pause a little bit there. I guess we don't need to actually play through and die. I could just hit the die button. Hang on. Okay, we could also give it like a longer pause. It could be like 1.3 seconds. And that could be interesting as well. So it goes quiet for a second before you hear that dun dun. Or we could do what we had before and have it play instantly right as it's done. What do you guys think sounds better? I don't normally like bosses because the boss mechanics are usually too gamey for me. That said, proof of skill is something players do appreciate. Otherwise, incremental shooters are more basic. Yeah, I did make my how to fail at boss fights video, and I think I definitely talked about a lot of the things that boss fights fail at hard. Yeah, if I was going to make a boss fight, the boss fight is going to be good, because I hate a lame boss fight. And so, yeah, I think that's the other reason why I opted out of doing a boss fight, because it would take a lot of people just throw boss fights out and they're like, hey, it's a boss fight, but they don't put any thought into it. A boss fight should take way more effort than many of these people are putting into it, because it's a boss fight. Like it should feel good to do, right? It shouldn't feel like a chore to do a boss fight. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the difference between a story and just bullet hell shooters, assault, zerg, gauntlets, etc. Interesting thought, Biofellas. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, and it is very interesting. Some of the things that boss fights annoy me the most with are it's just like a scaled up enemy of one that you face in the normal game. It's just bigger and has more health, but it's otherwise the exact same enemy. I hate that so much. The other thing that annoys me in boss fights is the boss fight being artificially extended by the boss's health. So like a boss fight's only fun if it lasts a long time, and then they just give the boss like a bajillion health, so you just have to hit it like forever. Yeah, that's kind of lame. I think you can have a boss fight be enjoyable even if it only lasts a few seconds. It depends on the boss, of course, and what kind of difficulty you're going for, but I think that's a valid thing to do. It sounds so loud right now for some reason, I don't know. Okay, let's die and see. Right now we have the about 7.3 or 1.3 second death queue. There it is. So you die, but then it waits a little bit. Now what we could do here as well is actually extend it more so that the music lands when you hit the ground, when the body hits the ground. And that could be a little bit more impactful than just playing. And so I think we need to make it like a 2-second, or like maybe even 2.2. I can't remember the exact timing of when you hit the ground, but let's shoot for that and see how it feels. Let's see. Naughty Night Lizard Wizard. Goodbye everyone, make sure to look out for Wizard Lizard Studios for when my studio inevitably fails because of the sentence. Because the sentence is really funny. First you gotta rise, man. You gotta do the rise first and then fail. So I look forward to your rise, and sadly I anticipate the sad eventual fall of your game studio, as all game studios go through, rise and fall. That's how it goes. You'll be your indie studio. Eventually you'll become an A, then a double A, then a triple A studio, and then you'll start monetizing everything and have your fall. So that's oh man. Yep, catch you later though. Have a good one. Thanks for joining this stream for as long as you did and hanging out. It's been great. Yeah, Math Wars, big numbers go up, are crap bosses. Yeah. Your death sound seems a little low volume. Yeah, I could turn it up a little bit. Okay, let's die. Check it out. Oh, I hit the wrong button. For some reason, F8 just like exits the game, and I don't know. That's not built in. I wonder if that's like a Godot thing. But yeah. Okay, let's see if we got the timing right. I started reading chat, and then I forgot what I was doing. Here we go. Ideally, we wanting the death cue to land right when the body hits the floor. So let's see how it goes. Wasn't bad, but I think you might be right. We want it to be a little bit louder. We've set it to -20, which is what all the other songs are set to, because for some reason they're just like really loud. Let's just go to like -14. They'll probably be good. Let's check it out again. Hold on, boss fights are tough, but what do you think about Elden Ring's boss fights? They have tons of health. They do, and Elden Ring is a bit, I don't know, I want to say it's an outlier, because the whole point of Elden Ring is to fight bosses, and the gameplay loop of Elden Ring is getting good at dodging and timing, and so the gameplay loop of Elden Ring is boss fights, and so they have lots of health because I don't know, that's just what you play. But when you're playing other games where you fight just a bunch of smaller enemies and you just progress, I guess there are smaller enemies in Elden Ring too, but I don't know. I don't want to just be like Elden Ring's the exception, but there are a lot of bosses even in Elden Ring that's like, why is your health that high? Like, I don't understand. So I mean, they could probably just use some balancing, but yeah, Elden Ring's always and other not Elder Scrolls, the Dark Souls. The Dark Souls games are the go-to for comparing boss fights, because that's like all that game is about. I think it's too waiting too long. Let's bring it back a little bit. Let's go like 1.9. We'll try it again. I was gonna say something else. I can't remember. I remember. A lot of the boss fights in Elden Ring are kind of lame in my opinion because you're just in a big open room, and that's it. There's a few where there's like pillars that you can fight around and use to your advantage sometimes, or a few other things in the environment. But for the most part, those things just break instantly. And there's a few bosses in Dark Souls games where the boss is like running in a circle instead of just in a big empty room with you. But that's one of the things that also annoys me about boss fights is they just dump you into a big empty room and that's it. Like there's no extra strategy besides get your timing right and hit the boss, which I think is lame. I think a boss fight would be much more interesting if the environment is also interesting and the player can pursue different strategies based on both the environment and their abilities in order to defeat the boss. Like, can you imagine a boss fight that was, let's say it was similar to like an Elden Ring boss, and instead of it just being a big circular arena, you had a three-dimensional arena where you can run away from the boss or lure the boss into certain areas. You can run upstairs and jump over platforms and across things, and all the while the boss is in that same space, using the environment to its advantage as well. Like maybe it lures you to locations or tries to fight you at certain places, depending on the boss's abilities and your abilities. I could see that as being a much more compelling way to fight a boss, and that's just by creating a different environment in which the boss fight takes place. That's not even necessarily including how the abilities of the player and the boss interact with each other, which, if given enough thought, can make a boss fight way more interesting than what we have today, which is the classic big empty room boss. And there you go. Enjoy. That's all they got. Okay, and here we go. That timing was much better. What'd you guys think of that? I mean, Dark Souls kind of does that. Yeah. Or are you talking to somebody else? I don't like Elden Ring, not saying it's bad, but the whole thing is let me troll you constantly. I really don't respect games where learn through dying is the main dynamic. Yeah, I agree. I think learning by dying is really stupid. I appreciate Elden Ring because of its open world accessibility. There's no arbitrary reason why you can't go somewhere in Elden Ring. It's all based only on your just your personal skill and how leveled up you are through acquiring items or XP. Is broken. Just throw it away, I guess.
Yeah.
My wife's showing me a wooden crocodile toy that is now broken. It's garbage now. Wah wah. Here we can play the death cue that I just made for the broken crocodile toy. Here we go.
Kids thought it was so cool the head could turn that they decided to turn it all the way.
What happened to the crocodile toy?
It used to wiggle and then...
No, we just need you to say it died. Ready?
Oh.
What happened to the crocodile toy?
It died. It's lost its head.
Oh, it's too quiet. Hang on. Let's go to 0. Okay, wait. What happened to the crocodile toy?
It died.
That was so corny. I played the death cue music for like bum, but yeah. Anyway, rest in pieces, says chat.
Yeah.
It will rest in pieces. To the trash heap.
Okay.
It's useless, and we can't fix it. There's no way that can be fixed.
Nope.
Oh well. F in the chat for crocodile toy. Yep. F for the crocodile toy.
It lasted a good
F in the chat for the
6
crocodile toy.
months. It lasted 6 months.
Press F to pay respects. That's a thing that happens in chats, by the way.
Okay.
My wife's looking at me so confused.
I'm like not a social media person at all.
I guess not. It's a famous thing. So there's a game from like forever ago where an NPC dies in the game, and then you go to the funeral in the game,
Oh,
and
the
you
F
walk
is for
up.
funeral?
No, and then you walk up to the casket, and you get a prompt to pay your respects. And in order to pay your respects, you have to press the F key and hold it.
Seriously.
Yeah, and everybody thought that's ridiculous, and so you press F to pay respects in the game, and then that turned into over time a meme in streaming, when a player dies while playing or whatever. Like if somebody dies, then people say press F in chat to pay respects. So
Things you learn.
the things you learn. I bet you there's tons of people who know about the press F in chat to pay respects thing, or put F in chat for the whatever, and they don't know the origin of it, which is a game from, I think it's Call of
What
Duty.
game is it called?
I want to say it's Call of Duty, which is a pretty famous game, but I bet you there's a lot of people who don't realize that that's the origin of that meme. So, yep. The more you know.
Yeah. I better leave you alone then.
Yeah.
You can do
Yeah,
stuff.
get out of here. Go away.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Bye.
See you later. That NPC was the crocodile. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I haven't played Call of Duty, so thanks for that origin explanation. Oh, yeah, did you, so you knew about the F in chat for when something dies, but you didn't know that was the origin? I didn't, let's see. I think when F in chat first started being a thing, I was like, why is that? And I looked it up, and I figured out that it was from, I believe it's from Call of Duty. And so, yeah. The history of memes. It's really interesting to see the origin of some of the memes that exist. It's cool how, it's interesting how some of them start from like really just nothing at all. You're so lucky you can test your game at a good FPS. I have to test mine at 10 FPS. That could actually be good, because that means that everybody else's, like everybody who might download your game, if you can get it to work on a low FPS computer, then anybody else who downloads the game is probably going to be able to play it. So when you have a slightly beefier computer like mine, and I'm not saying mine's like the beefiest computer, but it's decent, it could be a bit more difficult, because you'll make a game that will run fine on your computer, but then if you play it on like a laptop or something else, it's just going to like poop. I had that problem while I was developing Void Titan. I could get it to run at 60 FPS on my computer, but then I'd go and download it onto my laptop, and yeah, that was a whole nother story. I could not even do anything. So yeah. So yeah, in order to make it better, I had to go back and forth, download it to my laptop, play test, make sure I fix things, then try again. So yeah. So in some ways, it can be better to have a slow computer to develop a game, because that way you know your game will work on anybody's computer. But okay, Death Queue. Do you guys like it better playing immediately or playing with that delay? What do you think? When it plays immediately, it sounds like the song is concluding instead of fading out. And when you have that delay, I feel like it's a little bit satisfying to have the sound land right when you fall down. So I don't know. Hard to say. Should I do a poll? And I can go back and forth. It's fine, he says. He's like, just move on. Do something else. It's good enough. Yep, timing is right, I think. Biofelis? Is that how you pronounce that? Bio thinks it's great as it is. Does anybody think it should be played right after, though? Do we have any contradicting opinions? Because I don't really care, to be honest, so we could probably just leave it as it is. Does it sound good? Here's the new question. Does it sound good when the last song is playing? Let's see. Let's set the progress tracker to 6. And Now the music is significantly more intense. Oops, I forgot to set the volume back to, I think it was negative 14. Yeah, so it still works though. I think it still works for that negative 14. There we go. I don't think we need a win cue though. Maybe we need a cue for when you reach the end room. So if you play through the whole course, you have to play through 5 randomly selected sections. And you get to here. And when you pass through this, it cues the end of that run. And I kind of like how it goes quiet during the cutscene, you know? Same thing here. Just goes quiet while this plays. Makes it feel a little bit more personal, you know? Maybe put a little ah sound instead of the huh, like a jump. More surprise, failure than exuberance. Yeah. I don't mind that feedback because I haven't necessarily been in love with the like I wasn't gonna care, but I wasn't like, that's the best sound, that's the best sound I've ever heard. Dun dun. I don't know why, but whenever I hear the dun 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 dun, let's see, dun 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 theme, I imagine trumpet fanfare in the second dun dun bar dun. Interesting. Also, there is no sound for knees hitting ground, body. It's so no big deal, but feedback. True. Yeah, I could just add like the same footstep sound in the default footstep sound. I could add that in and trigger when the knees hit the ground. So when you're just running around, there is a slight tappity tap of his feet. Set this back to 0. I like the glowing spinning thing at the spawn. It brings me a sense of comfort. That's interesting. Oh, you can't even hear it. Turn the sound down so much. Yeah, you can hear his footsteps now. So I could just take that same sound, or I could take the jumping sound. Listen. It's like a little bit of a tap. And put that on where his knees hit the ground. And that is the jump sound. I could put the jump sound on to play in the death. Die. Oh. Die, and then it run death animation, which is so expertly coded. Let's see. Down arms, down body, kneeling head, kneeling feet, texture, and then death animation. Yeah, so the knees hit. I think the knees hit right here, because then the sprites swap to that kneeling texture, or maybe they hit right after this. No, they definitely hit here. So I could do jump sound dot play. Although it's not going to play because I mute all the sounds, I think. I think the entire bus gets quieter when you die. But let's see what happens. See if we can hear it. What if you made a list, stored the sprites, and used a loop instead of all that? Yeah, there's probably a much better way to do it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, all the sounds go away right there. So yeah, but there's the revive animation. Let's see, revive sparks. Well, there's a lot of revive stuff. Let's see, revive. Revive sounds. The revive function, revive animation, which is also stupidly complex. But maybe we'll be able to hear it here because the revive animation doesn't go quiet. If using a keybind to kill the player for testing, you could keep it and then have the players press it by accident and ruin their whole run. I could. Yeah, I just added, I have a few keybinds for playtesting purposes. One of the coolest ones I made, I think, is this one. It just deletes everybody. That way I don't have to deal with enemies if I'm working on environment. So that sped up a whole bunch of stuff by adding that little keybind. Made it so much more efficient. Okay, let's see. Oh wait, that was I was supposed to do the revive to listen for the sound. Yeah, let's try it again. Let's listen for the sound of his knees hitting the ground. I mean, I heard it. It was really quiet, but the sound of the revive kind of overpowers it. I don't know. Watching Artindi and a stream is like watching the sun go down. There's always a tiny part of you thinking it's never coming back. Also, I just joined. What do you mean it's never coming back? Is that how you feel when you watch the sunset? You're like, it might not rise tomorrow. What a beautiful sunset. This is probably the last time I'll see that. Oh, man. You need a little bit more hope in your life, man. I need a real-life keybind. A real-life keybind to remove enemies. Just like, it's like a real-life cheat key. You just push the button and everybody's nice to you. Put death as an optional keybind. Set it to nothing by default. Labeled dev cheats. I'm not. Okay, so this might be bad. This is probably a little bit bad. But I don't actually have any keybind options. You can't reset the keys. You're either gonna play it the way I've keybound it, or you're not. So, sorry for people who are missing fingers or have those needs. But that's where we're gonna be. If it's popular enough, then I'll add it. But I'm not gonna add it by default. So, yeah. I never make keybind. Made a feature at the end of game. Haha, time to beat my own game. Nice. Maybe the Earth will just stop spinning. You never know. I mean, you watch the sunset and then it's just like, well, that was it. The Earth stopped spinning and now you have to travel to the other side of the world to see the sun. To remove stuff in my way. To remove all obstacles. Just press K, remove obstacles, and then press F to pay respects. We were talking about that earlier. Press F to pay respects. Yeah, that's bad. Wait, what's bad? There are usually libraries for that. Yeah, there's probably easy ways to do it, but well, relatively easy ways to do it. I've looked up a few ways to do it before, and the way I see it is, ideally, if a game becomes popular, you need to have keybind options because people sometimes need those options. Or accessibility options, such as a color blindness option or things like that, or different language options. But unless your game becomes popular, it takes a tremendous amount of effort to add all those accessibility options, which will be wasted because most people who play your game aren't going to need them. There'll be like maybe one or two if that, if your game becomes moderately popular compared to most indie games. Well, not even moderately popular. If your game is played by, like, if your game gets played by the average number of indie games that get played, it's going to be less than 100 people. And so, yeah, it's the amount of effort just isn't, the way I see it, the amount of effort isn't worth it unless your game becomes more popular. At which point, definitely you want to add that in there. So, but I've seen so many people spend days and days of effort adding in pointless accessibility options and then have literally 5 people play their game, all of which don't need those accessibility options. So it's just a tremendous amount of effort for nothing. I think if you know your game is going to be played by a lot of people, then yeah, you should probably add that. But if you don't know and you have no way to know, wait a little bit and find out. Then add that as soon as it needs it. But yeah. What's your opinion on Stop Killing Games? Somebody already asked me that, actually. They asked recently in this stream, and you missed it, so we're just not going to talk about it again. No, just kidding. Speaking of real-life keybinds, what body parts would you choose to have a keyboard engraved in you? I mean, I guess where your fingers are going to be able to reach it easily, so probably my thighs, because I can sit down and I could type on my thighs, I guess. Keybind, mouse, joystick, remap, etc. Nope, library. Yeah, and I bet there's more efficient ways to do it now. I haven't looked at making a keybind or keybind options for a little bit, but I know in Godot 3 it was not super easy. Like, it's possible, but like the tutorials I watched were like, wow, that's not easy. I bet Godot 4 has much more easier ways to do it, and there's probably even like systems you can, or not systems, like somebody's probably done it and you can just copy everything and paste it right into your game. What's your opinion on Stop Killing? Oh yeah, we talked about that. Keybinds are good for everyone. They are. Keybinds are always better. Alternatively, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the, well, okay, my game has almost no controls. You have the mouse, you have WASD, and you have space, and that's all. What I'm going to do is add well, for most games, I'll add as many keys that people typically use and multi-bind them. So you have WASD, but I'm also just going to automatically bind the arrow keys in case somebody wants to go for that. But yeah, I guarantee your game won't be played. Oh, if you want to guarantee your game won't be played, do some weird keybind and allow no configs. Yeah, especially if it's weird. For Void Titan, you have, I can't remember, there was a keybind, or one of my games that I made, there was a keybind that, oh, I remember, it was the one where you could, it was my game where you could clone yourself, and the key to clone yourself was, I can't remember, oh, it was a mouse, but then to switch between clones was tab, and I felt like people might not like that, and at the time it was difficult for me to make keybinds. I tried it a few times and I couldn't make it work, and so I was like, instead of that, I'm just gonna multi-bind as many potential options. And so, because the controls are relatively simple and the only weird one was switching between clones, I decided to make tab, shift, control, and I believe Q and E were all options to switch clones. And so if you pressed any of those keys, you would switch clones. So whatever the player was most comfortable with, they could just automatically end up doing that. So a lot of people naturally chose to use their pinky to hit shift instead, and they didn't have to rebind anything. It was just already set to that. So that's another option if you don't want to do keybinds yet. But I'm not saying don't do keybinds. I'm saying wait till you find out if your game is going to be played by a lot of people before going through the work of adding many accessibility options. Keybinds is definitely the first one. Remapping is definitely the first one you want to add. And then after that, it just depends on how many people are playing it. Such as other languages. Like, there's no point in adding, I don't know, Chinese to your game if nobody's going to play it, you know? So but if your game becomes epically popular, obviously you definitely want to add those. I've tried making real-life keybinds in real life, but got bored after a week of making them. Only got 2 of them done. Real-life keybinds. Boo, get jump scared. Ooh, Yeah, I'll wet myself. So scary. What is your opinion on that knuckle blaster controversy? I don't even know what that is. I guess no opinion. You probably already talked about this summer, but have you made your dream game yet? I have talked about this. I don't understand when people say I'm gonna make my dream game. I don't understand what they're even talking about, because what classifies a dream game? It's like, this is the game I would most like to play. Maybe, but then now that you've made your dream game, what? That's it? You don't like? You can't make two dream games? I don't even understand it. So many people, especially indie devs, they start making a dev series, and the first episode is finally making my dream game, and I'm like, okay, I doubt that, because now that once you finish that, what, it's like my dream game's done now. Like, yeah. First of all, how do you define dream game? That's what I want to know. Second of all, when you're done making it, you just don't have a dream game now. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, and so I never say I'm making my dream game, because my dream game could change mid-development. Like, maybe this is my dream game, and then once I'm done with, and halfway through, I decide actually my dream game is something else, because it just doesn't make sense. So I never claim a dream game, because it sounds stupid. But in my opinion, a dream game is the one game you spend all your time learning just so you can make that one game. Maybe, but not everybody's going to define it that way as well. And so, but I mean, that's valid to be your opinion and how you see it. And just as well, maybe everybody who claims they're making the dream game validly see it as a dream game, but I don't comprehend it, I suppose. Maybe that's just a me issue. You probably already talked about, I already read that. Bro, what's up with I don't know what Knuckle Blaster is. A game you want to make, but it's out of scope for a long time. It can change. Yeah, and a lot of people are like, my dream game is something that a single developer probably shouldn't pursue. Nobody's dream game is ever like a Snake clone or a Brick Breaker. Like, people joke about that. I've had people joke about that when I've talked about dream games in the past. They're like, my dream game is making Brick Breaker. Yeah, it's probably not. Nobody ever has a dream game of making a Brick Breaker clone. It's always some massive RPG that's way out of scope for a single developer. But yeah, I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. I could probably talk about it more, but I'll probably just start talking in circles. I thought of a dream game as like a big, ambitious project that is probably the reason you got into game dev. It could be. That's a pretty valid definition. I don't know if everybody agrees with that though, but I like that. I like that perspective of it. So my dream game is the game that I would like to make, and there's the reason why I started getting into game development. Although I would like to make other games, this is the game that I first was pursuing. And that could be valid. Although I doubt most people calling a game their dream game are necessarily saying it for that reason. Your dream game could just be a game you literally thought of in a fever dream. It could be like, yeah, I thought of this game while dreaming. That would be very valid. It's a dream game. I think the best definition of dream game is a game that you had a dream about. Yeah, I dreamed about this game and now I'm making it. So therefore, it's my dream game. That makes sense. Speaking of game dev, I watched some tutorials on YouTube, practiced on Godot, and now I'm finally working on a small game in Godot. Thanks for the inspiration, Artindi. I'm glad that I was able to help inspire. I don't know if I was the only one inspired, but it's great. That's awesome. It's awesome. It's super fun to make games. It's very open-ended. You can make so many things. Yeah, and yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I ran out of things to talk about. What are we talking about? Dream games? I think I've already covered that. Earlier we talked about what did we talk about? Gotta go. Take care, everybody. Yeah, catch you later, Bio. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the fun chats. What was that last chat? Speaking of game dev, I watched some tutorials on YouTube practicing Godot, and now I'm finally working on small games in Godot. Thanks for the inspiration. I thought of something else I was going to say with that, but then I forgot. And it had to do with something that we talked about previously. But Yeah, the developer of Ultra Kill tried to parry with the one weapon you can't parry with, exposing him to the fandom. He was playing his own game. The developer of Ultra Kill tried to parry with the one weapon you can't parry with, exposing him to the fandom. Was he playing his own game and tried to do that? I haven't played Ultra Kill yet, still. Bye, Bio. See ya, Bio. Everybody's saying goodbye to Bio. Catch you later, Bio. Yes, so he's playing his own game, tried to parry with the one weapon you can't parry with, and then everybody made fun of him. Because he's the one who developed the game, so he should know that. Hakita is so cooked for that, bro. Oh, yeah, that's his name, isn't it? The developer's Hakita. I mean, yeah. I had to play the game. Yeah. I don't know the developer that great. He's probably okay. He said some things that I disagree with, but that's neither here nor there. It's totally separate. His game's on my wish list, though. I don't know if it's necessarily my style of game. My style of game is like base builder factory games. Steam is doing a, let's see. Yeah, they have an automation fest. Check it out. I clicked on this. I was like, oh, these are the kind of games I like to play. If you go down to like where the games are listed, on wish list. I already own that one, so it's not on the wish list. On wish list. Like half of them are on my wish list. Is there a page 2? Let's see. In library. I already own these ones. On wish list. So the first like 10 games here, I either own or I want to own it. Yeah, actually this one should be on my wish list too. I'm pretty sure I looked at it and I just haven't put it on there. This is my jam, the automation base building games. Yeah, those are the games I like to play. I actually have a question. Sometimes, whenever it comes to the arts, it's easy to get into the groove by starting small, like working on doodles to get into big pieces of art. As for game dev, what do you recommend to do to get into a groove? Since sometimes implementing features can be harder and more time-consuming / committal. That's tough. That is a little tough. It's very different. I think you need to have a solid plan of what you're trying to achieve, and I think you need to try to stick to that plan as much as possible, deviating from that plan only as you run into obstacles or other things that you run into while developing. And then when you're actually working on it on a day-to-day basis, I think you should, this is just from what I do, I think you should make a sort of a checklist of things that you need to get done. This could include like everything that needs to get done until the game is complete, or everything that needs to get done until the game is playable, or everything that needs to get done until you have, I don't know, a certain level completed or a certain amount of stuff created, whatever the target could be. But I would make some kind of to-do list. And then you can go through that list and find the easiest things to do and do kind of a snowball effect. That way you feel like you're checking stuff off. So you do the easiest thing first, and that might take like a minute or two. And then you get the satisfaction of removing it from your list or checking it off. And then you can go to the next easiest thing and the next easiest thing. And as you go, you'll find you'll add more things to your list because you'll discover things you didn't think of. But as you go, you'll feel a little bit of momentum in that way. And that's not necessarily going to be all done in one day, but it will help you decide what you want to work on. The other benefit of game development, especially if you're a solo developer, that a lot of people don't realize is you're not stuck on just one thing. You have access to all the different components of game development. So if you're feeling burned out while coding, work on some of the art instead, or work on some of the music, or work on some level design, or work on some lore. Like there's so many different things that you can work on when you're the solo developer that you shouldn't really ever feel burned out. So if there is something that you're finding troubling while working on it and you just don't want to work on it, or you're having a difficult time getting through it, set it aside for a day or two and work on some other component in game development. And I think that is overlooked, that ability to work on all the different parts is overlooked. There is some caveats with that, of course. If you do work on art, there is the potential that that art could get thrown away, especially if you change course on certain things in your game. Like if you're developing a level and you make art specific to that level, and then you realize this level just doesn't belong in the game at all, and you scrap it. Excuse me. Potentially, you made a whole bunch of art that's now not going to be in the game, and you'll just have to throw it in the garbage. If you're okay with that, then yeah, then it's great. You can work on art, and at least you're practicing. But you yeah, there is a danger that if you develop something too much, you're going to spend a lot of time making something that ends up getting trashed later anyway, which is why typically you want to make the game playable, play test it, create levels before working on too much of the art. At the same time, I kind of disagree with some of those things. Some of the art helps give the game character and makes it more motivating to keep developing, because if all you have is circles and squares running around, it can hard to envision the final product, and it can also be hard to market it while it's in development if all you have is just basic shapes. If you can add art early on, then it's a little bit easier to show people what the idea is. So there's pros and cons in every way. There's a lot of different strategies, of course, but yeah. Switching activities, funny. I just start a whole new game and never go back to the first one. I mean, you can also do that. I'm making art specifically prototyping purposes so I can practice my drawing skills while also having something to get the feel of the levels and animations. Yes, I did that with Void Titan. My prototype art was, I didn't start with shapes or anything. I just went straight to having really simple basic art, and some of that art stuck with the game all the way to where it is now. And others I changed as I went. But it can be very motivating to have something appealing to look at right from the beginning, even if you don't have all the code complete. That's certainly something you could do. Great advice, Daniel. Wait, what did Daniel say? Start with a really big project that you have no plan on finishing. Yep, that's perfect advice. Princess Kirby, yeah, it's a good way to avoid burnout, just as Artindi said. Just by switching activities a lot. It's not guaranteed to help you avoid burnout, because burnout is just a thing that you sometimes just have to muscle through. You have to have the tenacity to stick to it. There's a lot of people who, as soon as they encounter even the smallest obstacle, they're like, I'm done, and start a new project. You'll never finish a game if you do that. So often you will run into a burnout moment and a moment in development that's just not going to be enjoyable at all for maybe even, it could be even for like several weeks at a time. And like I said, there's tricks to get around that, like by trying different things, but you're going to run into that at some point where you'll have maybe several days, weeks, or even a month where you just don't want to work on anything. And at that point, maybe instead of starting a new project, you work on something unrelated to game development for a little bit. Maybe just work on fun art or just fun little things that aren't necessarily new projects, and then come back to it after you get past that burnout. Or muscle your way through it, force your way through until you get to a point where you're enjoying the development again. So yeah, otherwise you'll never complete a decent-sized game of any proportion. So yeah, I love factory games. The one I've been looking at, I think, is this one. Well, maybe not that one. This one does look like a lot of fun, though. It's kind of like Satisfactory, but a little different, I suppose. And then there's another one that, Plan B Terraform. This one looks really cool. Why is it not on my wish? Oh, it is on my wish list. Anyway, go back to my game that I'm developing. Let's look at my to-do list. So we added the death queue. I'm gonna call it done. I think it's good enough. We'll move that. See, checklist. I love stuff. A to-do list on Discord. Which I never thought of myself as a to-do list kind of guy, but it can be very helpful to list out everything you have to get completed. At least for me. The method by which you go about making your game, it's going to vary greatly between people, but that's what I like to do. Though it's a bit harder to do when you're working as in a team of devs, since there's only so much other stuff you can work on outside of your. Yes, the switching between activities really only applies if you're a solo dev. When you're working with a bunch of people, it becomes a little bit more tricky because certain people are assigned to certain things, and so that's what you got. This is like a pirate software stream, but you are an actual developer. What a burn! Yeah, I suppose. People are really dogging on pirate software right now for valid reason. Like, I'm not gonna say it's not valid, but he has said a lot of very helpful things in the past. Like, not everything he said was complete bad takes. Like, he has a lot of bad takes, but not everything is a bad take. And he has given out lots of helpful information that I think is still valid. So, yeah. I mean, criticize him for the dumb things he said, but I don't think that negates the praisable things for the good things he said. So, yeah, he does have a lot of really stupid takes, but but he also has. Oh, I gotta say, I love all the memes that have been coming out where people just show like epically bad code and then put his face on top of it. Which I could probably just show my code and do that. But I'm not going to claim that I've worked at Blizzard for 10 years. My code is not that good. So oh, man. I fully recognize my code is not up to snuff, and I'm not going to claim it's really good. There might be a few little functions and things that I've done in code where I'm like, yeah, this is dope. But even then, it's not that good. There's a reason he wasn't actively bashed for all those years. Yeah, and I think so. I think because he had a lot of really valid takes on a lot of good things, especially in indie development. Like he had a lot of great things. Like his advice on whether or not you should make your own game engine, that was really well stated, and it was what I've always thought and have told people, just not as clearly and well stated as he presented it. And so a lot of little things like that. He said a lot of really smart things. So I don't think we should dog on him completely, because, he's helped a lot of people out. He's even, technically, he helped my channel out. My channel was really small for a long time. I made the How to Fail series, and it was kind of picking up, and I was getting into making more of those. And then pirate software suddenly became popular, and one of his biggest videos and things that he was saying is make games. And he was telling people, make indie games, like just go make it for fun, don't necessarily make it for money, go make indie games. And so there's a massive wave of people researching and learning how to make indie games, and I think he was also recommending Godot and other things like that. But there was a huge wave of people researching indie games, and so right at that exact time when he was recommending that, I got a massive boost in how many people were watching my channel. My channel went from, I think it was like 10,000 subscribers to 40 to 50,000 subscribers. No, it was 40 or 30,000. Like it jumped by about 300% in a month or 2 months. And I attribute it fully to pirate software. So because he got so many people interested in game development, and my channel was about game development, so it just worked out. There's a reason he wasn't active. Yeah, a broken clock is correct twice a day. Exactly. Valid. I mean, he played League of Legends. Is that are you saying that's a bad thing or a good thing? Because a lot of people are fans of that game. League of Legends is that's a game. You can take that however you want. It's either good or it's bad. If you like League of Legends, maybe you see it as a good thing. If you hate it, maybe you see it as a bad thing. Or there's other ways you could interpret that as well. Dark Rosin says, lol, the initials of League of Legends. Does that mean you're a fan? Or are you actually just laughing? It's crazy to think that unfunded indie development was pretty much impossible like 20 years ago. Yeah, and that's also, that's attributed as well to the more available engines, like Godot, Unity, probably especially Unity. I think Unity helped out the most. Unreal becoming publicly available, and several other engines, smaller engines, Game Maker Studios. There's a few others. And those becoming just free downloads, publicly available, anybody can use them. That definitely made it way more accessible. So, yeah. That's the thing. There were game engines in the past for a long time. I remember when I was younger, me and my dad theorized about making making some of our own games to help me learn how to code, because I didn't really know how to code at that time. And we looked into it a little bit, but there weren't any free game engines. We would have to pay for one and buy one, and then try to use one of those. And the game engines, of course, have improved significantly over the years. And so whatever engine we would have used and paid for it probably wouldn't have been as good as some of the free ones that we have today. So, yeah. So it's been accessible. It just, you got to pay for it in the past, or you had to make your own engine from scratch. So it's crazy to think that unfunded indie... Oh, I just read that. Yep. All right. Well, we added a death queue. I don't know if we need to add any other queues, because we don't. I think the only music we need is... Yeah, I'm going to remove... Oh, spawn queue maybe, though. No, I don't think we need a spawn queue. We don't need a spawn queue. That's something that could be nice, but we don't need it. I think the death queue is needed because it communicates game's over, and you get an emotional feeling that's attached to a small sample of music. So we don't need that. We do need music for the death and win screen. We're going to need music for when the menu is on, and we're going to need music for when we play the credits. We could just play the same song that plays in the run menu in the credits, but yeah, I think it should be something different. Although the credits, I don't know how long the credits are going to be, because it's basically just going to say game by Artindi, cutscene animation by Creo Master, and then maybe some other little things. Probably playtesters. I'll have to include playtesters for sure. I think it'd be cool to include people in the stream, but there's no way to do that fairly. So it'll probably just end up being a thank you to all the people in general, and you guys would just be included under whatever title that is, and it would just be like all the people who helped during streaming development, which would just include everybody in the chat. So if you've ever been in any of the streams ever, you'd be under that umbrella. So otherwise it's a little too unfair, because there could have been somebody who joined a stream, gave really helpful advice that actually made it into the game, and then that was the only stream they joined, and now maybe we don't remember their name because it was last year, you know? So yeah, I think it will just have to be an umbrella thank you to everybody. So there's only going to be like 4 or 5, well, it depends on how many playtesters, but there's not going to be that many. I feel like it's going to be just a handful of playtesters, and so it's going to be like at most 10 names or groups of people. So yeah, whatever music is played in the credits, it's not going to be much, if that. It could probably even just be a splash screen, because what I have right now in the menu is, let me just play it. I have a button to activate the credits. So here's the menu. If you open this, it just pops this open. And I have the credits button. What I think I'll do is I'll just have all of this disappear, and then I could just replace it with the credits, right? It'll just be like game by Artindi, cutscene animation by Creo Master, playtesters, list the names, whatever other credits I need, and then I could have something that's like big thanks to everybody who joined streams, and that could just be text that sits here, because there's not enough to have it roll. So yeah, that's probably what I'll do. And so I could just make music for the menu for when this menu's open, and the music will just keep playing if you click on this. Right now it doesn't do anything, of course, but you click on this and it goes there, and then if you click anywhere, it will go back to here. And yeah, that's probably what I'll do. So I don't think I need music for the credits, actually. So we'll move that. We'll get rid of that. That could change depending on if more people contribute to the game by the time it's released, but I don't foresee that happening. It's only going to be a handful of playtesters, and that's it. Like, there's just not enough. Game design, Artindi. Sound design. Yeah, I could just like list everything. I could just copy paste the credits from like a massive AAA game. I'll do like Skyrim or something, or actually Skyrim wasn't that many people. It was so long ago. I'll do a recent AAA game. I'll do like the most recent God of War game, and then copy paste the credits and just delete every name and put my own name in. Honestly, I'm impressed by how well you avoid any kind of scale creep. Everything is so neatly packed. That is the goal with this game, is just anything that isn't needed. Although I have added a bunch of stuff that it isn't needed just because I want to, But yeah, we're in the mood of making it as simple as possible. So at this point, for sure, which is a little sad because there's I don't know, I don't even know if I've written all of them down, but there's been a lot of people who have said, hey, maybe you could add this to your game, and I'm like, oh, that's such a good idea, but I have to say no, and I don't know if I've written all of them down, which is I probably should have made sure to write them down just so I could have them for the future in case I needed to add them. But yeah, I don't know. Add fake people names like Timothy Chopson wrote the music or Jeff the Third. Yeah, just like just add a whole bunch of people, make it seem like it's a huge game. Maybe more people would be like, wow, such a crew of people made this game. I should recommend it. Or they'll be like, wow, this many people worked on this piece of crap? Dang. That could backfire. That could backfire really bad. Because if it's just one person who makes like a bad game, that's like, oh, well, it was just one guy. So, it's forgivable. But then if I have like 50 people who made a crap game, it's like, wow, that many people made this game? Look at that. Look at that. Stuff to do. Credits, music, play testing, and the windscreen. That's just pixel art I gotta make. I'm kind of dragging my feet on that. It's so hard to draw people in pixel art. Maybe I should just hire a Creo Master again. Just be like, hey, draw this for me. And he's good at drawing people. In fact, he's like, I prefer drawing people than inanimate objects. And I'm like, bro, what? What are you talking about? I'm in loving memory of Toy Crocodile. Oh no. For those who missed it, a toy crocodile sadly broke while the stream was playing. My kids broke it. We put F's in chat for that. Actually, there's only one F, and only one person paid respects for the dead toy crocodile. How sad. So little respect. It served faithfully as a toy, died faithfully as a toy, and only one person paid respects with F's in chat. Look at the Undertale credits. It's only 2 people, but it's pretty long. Is that what they do? Do they like list every single thing and put their same name on it? Everybody jokes about doing that, but then nobody ever does. I really ought to do that at some point. That'd be great. I should make like a really small... no, that's not true. I bet you there's people who've done that on jam games because they just don't care. But I should make like a commercial game that I'm going to charge money for and actually just make it all by me and then just make the credits as long as possible. And it's just me in every single one. Made by Artindi, art by Indie, gameplay by Artindi, music by Artindi. Just misspell it every time. Well, it is 5:10. I've been streaming for 2 hours. I did start the stream late because I was dragging my feet getting to the stream. I didn't want to stream. I want to stream. I like streaming, but then I'm also like, I don't want to stream because I don't know. It takes a lot of energy to stream. It's fun though. Once I get doing it, it's really fun, but it's a little bit stressful because I feel like I have to work on something and I have to talk and be an extrovert for, the 2 or 3 hours that I'm playing the game, which I'm not. Yeah, with an epilogue scene. Yeah. Add an after credits scene teasing the sequel. Sound effects by F. Artindi. Could be fun. Yeah, we're gonna call it. I don't know how many more times I'm gonna stream this week because there's just a lot of stuff that has to happen before vacations happen, which is what's happening next week. So yeah, keep an eye out for if I stream, but no promises. We'll see. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Thursday? Yeah, maybe I'll stream tomorrow. Maybe what we'll do is we'll add the credits. We'll put the credits into the game. Let's see, where's the oh, it's right here. We could add the credits. So we can make this, we'll add the functionality of this button. We'll do kind of like what we have here, what I explained. You push the button and then the credits will appear and everything else will disappear. Then you click anywhere and it comes back. I think we could add that in one stream, easy. And we'll just have the blank spaces. Obviously we could say game by Artindi and then cutscene by Creo Master, and then everything else will be up for grabs. We can also add the one special thanks to Stream Chat, but then we'll just create the title for playtesters and then leave that blank. And then I don't know what else. I don't think there's going to be any other major things. There could be like a dedication, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I need a dedication for a game. That's a little weird. That's more for like books. They do that for games though too, right? But I don't know. Why is the Discord to do picture so sad? It's neutral. That's not a sad face. That's a neutral face. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, see, it's not sad. It's neutral. I don't know. I looked for an image, and I saw that one in like my first search for a potential image, and I was like, perfect, and I just stuck it in there, because it's just me. No need to be happy. No need to be sad. It's just neutral. So is the stream wrapping up? Yeah, we're gonna end the stream. I'm losing my voice. That's kind of the measurement for when I know when to end the stream, is when I start to like not be able to talk anymore. Have you noticed I'm coughing a little bit less? So I was sick several weeks ago, and the last several streams I was like coughing all the time, but there goes the sunset. I might not stream again. And honestly, this time it's valid. I might not stream, but I think I'm going to stream tomorrow, and we'll do what I was talking about. We'll add the credits in. And then we'll just leave blank spaces, so it's really easy. Once I have the names, I can just plug them straight in. But then we can check that off, and all we'll have to do after that is music, the windscreen. Well, I guess playing around with the brightness. I can do that off screen though sometime, and I'll just see. Although it might be good to get a little bit of feedback when I do that. We'll do that sometime, and then so it won't be much left. There'll be music, play testing, and finishing that pixel art for the windscreen, and that'll be it. I guess 2 more songs for music, Death and Windscreen. And this song might be tricky because we got to make it sound both sad and happy at the same time, depending on which scene is showing. And then this one is just going to be kind of chill, kind of, I don't know. We'll see. It has to sound like the game is paused, music that you might hear when the game is paused, because that's the only time you can see the menu. There is no main menu. There's only a pause menu. That's how much I've cut back on this game. I don't see the point of having a main menu with a game this small. I think that's another thing that indie developers kind of don't realize. You don't need a main menu. Just start the game. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna end the stream, and we'll stream again tomorrow. That's my commitment. We'll do tomorrow. After that, I can't make promises. Probably won't be streaming after tomorrow. But you should name it "Song That Might Be Played When the Game Is Paused." That's valid. Add a level select too for your 1 level. Yeah. Which level would you like to play? You can play level 1 or level 1. It doesn't help that it's just you. That's even more sad. Oh, yeah, that's what I called it. Just me. I don't invite anybody. I invited a bot because I needed to practice using this bot so I can implement it on my actual server. But yeah, I'll use this for writing notes to myself. I'm not going to go there because I don't need to show what notes I write to myself. Or sharing videos with myself that I want to find later. Or I have other to-do lists or specific game to-do lists. And then I'll use this to also practice seeing what messages will look like before I make like public announcements. I'll write it out on this channel first to make sure it looks good in Discord before porting it over to whatever channel I need to port it over to. So there's a lot of uses for having your own personal Discord server. The one I'm using it for is probably not very practical, which is making a to-do list, but the bot, yeah, that's the only visitor to my channel. There'll be no actual people here except me. In the hour I was here, I made a cool drawing. Dope. Nice. I'm glad people could listen to my voice while doing other things. Oh, I got an update. All right, we're gonna actually end for reals now. For reals. thanks everybody for hanging out. It's been really fun. This stream was actually enjoyable. We didn't get a whole lot done as far as game development goes. Like we added a few things, but we had a lot of fun conversations, and I think it was beneficial for many people, including myself. So thanks for hanging out, and yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna hit the end stream button now. So bye bye.